When I was born, my parents were already divorced, and so at a young age, I started traveling from Kansas to Oklahoma, and I lived in Kansas with my mom, and I had to go to Oklahoma to visit my dad. And my dad worked a lot of hours, so we spent a lot of time with my dad's mom, and this went on for a while. And when I was about 1 or 2 years old, my mom met a guy, and they became boyfriend and girlfriend, and he eventually moved in with us. And after that, just some weird things started happening. My grandparents started noticing, like, we came to visit and we, looked like we hadn't been bathed or taken care of very well, and just were in kind of like rags. And and then my mom would just leave us in Oklahoma for weeks and not call or text to get us back and stuff like that. So then when my grandparents went to meet with my mom to drop us back off with my mom, I just started screaming and crying and scratching to get back to my grandma, and my grandma then decided that something needed to happen, so she contacted my mom's mom, which lived in the same town as us. So she told them, what happened and that they need to call CPS and everything. So they called CPS and we got put in foster care. And when my mom went to court, the judge told her, you can leave your boyfriend and keep your kids, or, if you want to stay with your boyfriend, then your kids will get taken away. And so she, in court, said that she wasn't going to leave her boyfriend. And so we got taken away, and she signed her rights away willingly in court. So then my dad was fighting for us in court, but he had had a long history of abuse charges and drug problems and things like that, so he lost in court. And there was also times that he was abusive to my sister and I, so he lost in court and got his rights taken away. So we ended up being placed with my mom's parents, and at the time they had known all the things that were going on with my mom and that whole situation, and they didn't do anything until my grandparents called them. So we got placed in their home, which was the best, but still not very good. And there I still faced a lot of mental abuse and some physical abuse, but mostly mental abuse. And so when I got put in foster care, I was about 1 or 2, and then probably was about 6 or 7 when, by the time court was all finished, and then my grandparents got custody of us. When I was in high school, I was the summer in between my sophomore and junior year, I met Andrew, and when I met him and his family, they just loved me so unconditionally from the beginning. And growing up in my family, there was never really unconditional love. My family, if you were messing up or made a mistake or something, then the love just was just not there. And so I was just completely blown away by all the love that they had for me and all the love that they showed me from the beginning. And I started coming to church at McCookie free with them on Sundays. And at first it was kind of just how, I would go with my grandparents every Sunday, and it didn't really mean anything, and it was just something, we kind of just checked it off, like Sundays we go to church, but it didn't really mean anything at the beginning. And through their love and everything, I just realized that it was God's love through them, and that made me want to dive in and, get God into my heart and really grow a relationship with him, because I was just longing for this love that I had never had. And Andrew's family just really showed me, and Andrew showed me all of this love, and I just kept waiting for them to stop loving me if I made a mistake or, didn't, we got in a disagreement, but that just never happened. And so it really just drew me closer to God, and I started really wanting a relationship with him. It was very hard from the beginning to start forgiving my family and, making a better relationship with them. And in the beginning, before, I really asked God to take over, when they get angry, they would just lash out on me and start, cussing, sending mad messages and mean things to me. And eventually I would start to, try to defend myself, and it was just really mentally draining on me, having these bad relationships keep coming up. And also I just had these high expectations for them of what I wanted them to do, or I wanted a mom and a dad from them, and they just couldn't give me that. And so I just ended up giving these relationships to God and saying, God, I these are causing me so much pain, so much heartache. I don't know what to do about this anymore. Like, I can't do it anymore. And so when I gave them to God, God gave me this peace in these relationships to where, to this day, you know, like if they don't show up to something or if they don't text me or call me, it is okay. And my heart is not like, you know, completely crushed, or it's just got peace in these relationships, and I was able to meet them where they're at instead of having these expectations of I need you to be this, or I need you to be this, or you need to show up to this and do these things like mom and dad should. And it was really hard when I became a mom in these things, because then I expected even more, because I was like, the love that I have for my kids is like just unimaginable. And so it took me back a lot further in trying to forgive them, but God has really helped me, you know, be able to forgive them and not have expectations and just meet them where they are. And it's been really good to grow our relationships, and we still have a lot of growing to do, but it's definitely come a long ways. People like to say like, oh, their parents were like that and their parents' parents were like that, and it just goes for generation to generation, and that's not true. You know, you can stop that, and God can get you out of any situation that you're in right now, and your past doesn't define what your future is going to look like. And at any point in time, you can change with God's help, get out of the situation and become a better person. Because I'm definitely not strong enough to get out of these situations by myself. I wanted to share my story because of how these videos have impacted me, and just seeing people at their worst and hardest point in their life, you know, turning to God. People want to give up on God when He gives you a hard time, or He gives you, you know, these hardships. The people like, well, if God is so great, why would He make me go through this? Or what have I done to deserve this? But, you know, it's so inspiring to see people turning to Him in these hard times. And, you know, God is with you every step. Like Pastor Jeff said that one Sunday, like sometimes God would rather work through you in it than rescue you from it. God isn't leaving you during these hard times. He didn't, you know, He's not mad at you. He's not leaving you. And like, you don't know how many people God's touching around you while you're going through something, and you had to go through that to get these other people to turn to God when they never would have, you know, known God if that didn't happen to you.